It'll take your cash and we gone. Then we gotta take it back home. Everybody swear that we wrong. Yeah. Lame that they wanna come get it. The whole crew low, then we with it. Yeah, we on your head like a fitted. Yeah. It'll take your cash and we gone. Then we gotta take it back home. Everybody swear that we wrong. Yeah. Lame that they wanna come get it. The whole crew low, then we with it. Yeah, we on your head like a fitted.
Now they say your boy hot-blooded, but they don't even know my blood type. Might come through your hood and take your money with my trusty chain pipe. I'm petty enough to throw a coin or two, cause I got a few to spare. Now I have to fly over them haters so they know I'm here. I'm headed to Odin Castle just to go save the princess. Now you know ain't no Mario, so chill with your obvious type suspicions. See, I might even go super on these haters, but see, I ain't no saying. So you know I'm here to take from y'all rich boys. It ain't no debating. Rest in peace, Toriyama. That you would not promise today or tomorrow, so I'm truly here to live my life without all of that reckless drama. That's why I rock out to my very last day like I was Nirvana. Now it's back to the movement, now I'm doing for the real one, so there's no confusion. See, there's no losing, I'm just doing it for my people. They're the one straight out of Edo Village, cause I know the rich are so deceitful. That's how it's been from the jump, so don't ever think I tried to flip. Ain't no illusions to this game, boy. Y'all already know the script. Let's go.
It'll take your cash and we gone. Then we gotta take it back home. Everybody swear that we wrong. Yeah. Lame that they wanna come get it. The whole crew low, then we with it. Yeah, we on your head like a fitted. Yeah. It'll take your cash and we gone. Then we gotta take it back home. Everybody swear that we wrong. Yeah. Lame that they wanna come get it. The whole crew low, then we with it.
Yo, what's good, everybody? How y'all all doing? We are back on another Saturday. This Saturday, man, I'm looking poor all the way through, but your boy stay nice and tucked. Look cool. Yo, what up, Nintendo Cisco? What's good, man? Wow. Yo, shout outs to the boy. Shout outs to the boy right here, man. Go, yo, if y'all, I don't know why y'all wouldn't, but if y'all not subscribed to my boy Nintendo Cisco, man, go subscribe to this guy immediately. Go subscribe to this guy immediately. Push pause on this live feed and go subscribe to my boy. Man, it is good to see you, man. It is great to see you. Nintendo Cisco been on here. Nintendo Cisco has been on the channel a few times, and we've just had a great conversation, man. Yeah, he's been doing his thing. He said, "I know I disappeared trying to make a comeback." Hey, if anybody can make the comeback, you can definitely make the comeback. Yeah, what's good? That look. I was just telling Vito. Behind the scenes, I was just like, in my head, I'm like, man, today has been a rough day. Like I've been in my head all day today. It's just been like a roller coaster. And then just to see Nintendo Cisco jump in here, that just like put me in like the greatest mood, man. So I really appreciate that. Just somebody, the right person shows up on you, and like it just changes your whole mood, man. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you all. Don't get it confused. I appreciate all my moderators coming through. I appreciate anybody who showed up who hasn't commented. J Biggs, I appreciate you as well. What up to Trinell, Brand Smith, Dark Void, all coming through, showing love. I feel like there was somebody who snuck in there in between. Oh, RJH, yeah. Appreciate you coming through too. We're gonna have an interesting discussion. Nintendo says, dude, that's great to hear. I've been there. Yes. Let's get the spirits up and have this is gonna be a great one. Real quickly though, to kind of go along with what I was saying. So the reason why I'm all dressed up and I'm clad in black. This happened last Sunday, but I was actually in a funeral not in a funeral, but at a funeral today down in Indianapolis for my nephew. Uh, Vito knows of the nephew that's my age, but it's actually his younger brother who passed away. Um, he died in a shooting, so it's been a little bit hard on my sister, my oldest sister. Between us, blood related, it's just me and her, and so just her losing her youngest, her baby of her group, was just really kind of hard. So, a moment, I just want to give out, just a 10-second moment of silence. Just for all y'all in the chat, just give me one solid fist in the air. Appreciate it. Just a moment of silence. All right. I thank you guys. Really appreciate you all. Yeah, so I made a 4-hour trip there and spent some time there, and then made a 4-hour trip back. One, because my kids were still back here. Appreciate you, Dark Void. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. And so right after that, I picked up my daughter and we went to a probate. And this is actually a little part that I was telling Vito. We went to a probate, and I've never really been in like the college scene like that. So I never really knew what a probate was. But Vito, you know what a probate is?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who you went for. Like what?
Okay, so there's a girl in my ministry. Tucker Smith, what's good, man? Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate all the fish, y'all. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there's a girl in my ministry. I lead the rap ministry for our church, but there's a girl in my ministry. She joined, which was like perfect timing because I needed a singer for our ministry. And then it turns out she couldn't really do it, but she couldn't really like, how that stuff goes. You can't really like divulge why you can't do something. You know what I mean? Like it all has to be hush hush until that time that you like, join the line.
Crossover.
Yeah. So she hit me up. Not too much longer after that, she was just like, "Hey, I got a probate coming. Can you join?" Now this part is kind of funny to me because I was like, "Oh, I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely come through." I ended up showing up, but she never told me like what sorority she was joining, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, Vito knows like my mom is a Delta. That's her sorority. She's Delta Sigma Theta. And so like you go to my mom's house, anything is like red and white. Like she rocks the red and white, or she have elephants. That's their symbol. They always throwing up the Delta sign, all that. So yeah, she goes hard with it. Like to the point where my daughter, like she knows that like when she goes to college, she's gonna be a Delta. I pull up and I'm just chilling, and all I see is pink and green. Like, oh my gosh, bro! And if y'all don't know anything about the relationship between
the Delta, that's your auntie right there, man.
The Delta, your mom's?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is probably why. Like, she'll probably like our moms are cool, obviously, but like outside of that, like my mom don't mess with no Deltas, because the Deltas and the AKAs do not get along. Yeah, they do not get along.
Now, granted, just to tell everybody, like for real, it's more of just a sorority, fraternity, rivalry.
Yeah,
they really do get along, but when it comes down to like competition
that kind of
and
stuff,
being,
they don't.
they do their little like homecomings or when they stomp you out at the
Yeah,
beginning of the year or something like that.
they make
And
sure they get on their head.
you see a lot of this more in black colleges than you
Mhm,
do universities, but you still see it at universities as
mhm.
well because they're everywhere. But basically like it's just a nice little rivalry. It almost, but what's crazy is they get so into it, into their frats and into their sororities. It almost feels like they gangs.
Yeah, yeah,
It,
it does. It does. It's like for us, like in football terms, it's usually like for us it's Michigan versus Michigan State. Like
yeah, yeah,
we don't mess with them, but like we like on a level like we mess with them. It's not like a
yeah.
Michigan Ohio State type of deal.
Right.
So like whatever school, from whatever state you from, they got that rivalry, but it's like a healthy rivalry, and they got the same thing. And the Deltas come from like a chapter off of the AKs, and I think that's why there's like bad blood there, but like healthy bad blood, not like they be fighting or nothing like that. So, um, but yeah, man, it, and I was like, I like texted her. I was like, Mom, I know you gonna be mad. She was like, Why? I was like, because this probate is actually for the AKAs, and she was like, Why would I be mad about that? I was like, because I came to go see a friend who is like pledging AKA. She was like, that don't bother me none. It ain't like you trying to date her. And I'm like, dang. I mean,
I
facts,
mean,
but like, dang, like
what if I was though, Mom?
and then she was like, I, no, 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 I didn't. I said her name first. I was like,
Mhm.
because what's her name? And she was like, well, she's like, I mean, she wasn't good enough to be a Delta. And I'm like, dang. I like, but she's pledging AKA too. And then that's what she was like. I mean, it's not like you trying to date her or nothing. And I was like, dang. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah.
Hey, by chance, was
What's up?
Pastor Mike's wife there?
Yep, he was. He was. Yeah, she was. She was, and it's a few others that that was there too. There's a few
Yeah,
others. Um,
yeah.
but I was like after watching that whole thing, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I wouldn't mind watching the Deltas do this. Like I would be kind of
Deltas, they
interested.
get crunk. They get
Yeah,
they.
that's
I
what I've
mean,
heard.
all right. So like the AKs is everybody stuff. Even the Zetas, the I forgot the other one, the last one. Uh, I don't know. I forgot their names. I forget. It's something Rose or something like that. But anyway,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
all
Identify
have
row.
their yeah. They all
Yeah.
have like some kind of I don't know. It's like when they probates, when they had their little probates, it's almost like you getting baptized, like so. Like
Yeah, it's
it just
cool.
the
It's cool.
energy is just crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
it was dope. I have to give it to him. It was pretty dope that they did
especially
that.
when they first stroll for the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
dang!
It was cold. So yeah, so that's been my up and down day. We're gonna get right into this icebreaker because that wasn't the icebreaker at all. We'll do the normal. Thank you, Tucker Smith, once again for coming through. The normal. What have you been playing lately? Because I actually got some stuff I want to talk about. So, put down in the chat, guys, what y'all been playing lately, what you've been enjoying, or like what are you waiting for too? So I
I'm
guess
waiting
what do
on
you
Drake to respond. That's what I'm waiting on.
what you been playing lately, and throw out a title that you've been waiting for, or that you're waiting to show up that you could play. So we'll start off as usual with my co-host Vito. What you got? What you been playing lately?
All right, so I don't know if I mentioned it. Oh, I think I did mention it last week, but I am playing Control. They have it on Xbox Live or Game Pass, so I've
Mm-hmm.
been dibbling dabbling back into that, and I realized that the Ultimate Edition actually takes out um, a certain costume that was very controversial. That's almost the same type of costume as what's that game coming out with the girl with the yams? Stellar
Stellar
Blade or something.
Blade.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like there was a costume that was in there that was like taken out, and I was like, oh wow. So they left that out, but it must have been like very controversial, of course.
Hmm.
But it's still on the original because I still have it on my PlayStation, whatever. But I was playing through that a little bit, you know what I mean, and just seeing what's new, what they added in. Because when you do the Ultimate Edition stuff, sometimes they do throw a little, because like they have all the DLC, but sometimes they throw a little extra, like little special little sprinkle in there. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to just go through the stuff, see how much I knew and stuff like that. And I must admit, I went through this playthrough very very quick. I'm still playing, but like getting to like certain spots, I'm like, dang, I don't remember it being this easy for me to get there. You know what I'm saying? I remember it was like a lot tougher. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I've been messing around with that. Let me see. Let's see. PlayStation. What am I doing on PlayStation? What the heck was I doing on PlayStation? Oh, I was playing the demo to Stella Blade or whatever that demo is, and saying
How you like it?
that it's definitely Bayonetta. It's definitely I can't say that more. You know, I was actually gonna text you last night, like, yeah, dog, yo, this game is just like Bayonetta. But nah, it's definitely it got its own elements to it.
Hmm.
I only thing I can say is Bayonetta. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like it, you know what I'm saying? Like until like the game comes out and you get more to it and all this other stuff, and
Hmm.
I mean that's the only thing I can go off. But I mean, as far as it itself, they're gonna have to do a little better on the storyline, like capturing me at first, like you know how it begins and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
just feels like you just get thrown in the stuff, and it's like,
Without any context.
yeah, yeah, which I understand. I mean, it kind of, I mean, no, they do give you a little memory lane, and that's your training session or
Hmm.
whatever like that. But it's still kind of like that. Even that part is more like, okay, but why? What's going word on? We're the regular looking humans. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
why we got androids versus aliens? You know what I'm saying? So,
J Big said, from what I hear, it feels slower than Bayonetta. Is it like the pace, like the speed of the
mm,
fighting? Is it a little bit slower?
mm, yeah, slight bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. You know, it is. It is. As I think about it, because Bayonetta is very, very, very quick.
Like
Yeah,
fast pace, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's very, very. I mean, which you know what I'm saying. Like this is, it's not fast paced. It's almost. I don't know. I don't know how you describe it, but it's as far as like the pacing of it. Yeah, no, it's not as fast as Bayonetta. Bayonetta is like 10 times.
Like sporadic
You
and
know what
stuff.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I think they're trying to just be a little more slower because of certain physics they got going on with it,
Mhm.
and what they're trying to do as far as like how we can kind of I don't know. I guess they're trying to be realistic, but at the same time they're not. It's weird.
Okay.
I don't know,
Okay.
but it is slower. It is slower. Um, But I mean, you know what I'm saying, from what I played so far, I mean it's straight. Sandland, again, I keep getting tore up in that. I can't get
I
to a
still haven't
doggone
started it yet.
I can't get to a machine yet. I'm stuck getting towed up in the middle of the desert. But I did go ahead and actually watch some of that anime. So I just
Hmm.
had to, you know, throw that at
How
you
was
real
that?
quick or whatever. Um, it's like the manga.
Okay.
Or you know, from what I'm seeing right now, it's straight. It's straight. What you know what's crazy is when you was like, yeah, this Sandland, it's in the same DBZ situation. I saw the dude's kid, the kid's dad, and I was like, I see why you say that. I was like, I see why you say that, because it had me looking it up like, is he his dad? Did he get taken over? And honestly, I don't even want to guess it is. That's his dad. So yeah, this is like, this is part of the DBZ. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying,
yep.
universe or whatever.
Okay.
But you know, it's cool. You know, those the demos I'm playing and replaying some of that control or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I am kind of, when I get a chance, I am going back and I am playing like Alan Wake a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that I end up start playing it, and then like control pops up in my mind, and then I end up
Playing
trying to
that
control.
instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Um, okay, so Jobo says, Jobo says, Gunstar Heroes. Nintendo Cisco said, I've been playing Helldivers 2 a ton. It's the only game I bought so far. That's crazy because we're already in April, like moving into May.
Yep.
But I've heard a whole bunch of people talk about how great that game is, but like it's the most fun when you have 3 other people playing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm tempted to play it, but I'm like,
I ain't got 3 other friends.
I ain't
like
got
that.
3 other people, and I'm gonna be getting toe up. Like,
Yeah. like I may have a solid 1, but like
yeah.
3 other people like that. That's.
I mean, it can if it's is it cross platform.
I think so. I don't know for sure.
I mean, because like we do have a community right here. We can like link up
Right.
with a couple people here.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
You going on, and then get on. You know what I'm saying? If it's cross platform, then definitely we can get a team together, get something to.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah.
Because it does look fun. I'm not even gonna hold
do.
you up. It
It
definitely
do.
look fun.
Yep.
Dark Void said he finished RE4 remake. I'm sure that was excellent. That game, especially towards the end. If I'm not mistaken, is Wesker the final boss in that? I want to say he is. I can't remember exactly.
Excuse me.
J Big said he playing some more Ocarina of Time. Oh, you playing your nostalgia games, Ocarina of Time and Mario 3D All Stars. What up, Levon? And I did say what up to Joe Bo, but I wanted to say what up in person again. What have y'all been playing? Well, Joe Bo already said his. So Levon, what have you been playing? Levon Kaysen. J Big from that we already talked that one. Chanel said I've been playing Stellar Blade demo and an indie game called Crypt Stalker. Crypt Stalker is old school 8-bit Castlevania. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So it's different than
Crypt Stalker. Cause I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
Like, somebody stalking Crypts? Like, what?
The game. He's waiting on his Dragon Quest 3. Okay. Dark Void said Alan Wake 2 is fantastic. It's cross-platform. Wow, cross-platform. I can't talk today. Cross-platform. I play all the time sometimes, but yeah, it's best with friends. Yeah, see, that's what I definitely need a team. Need a team because I can lead sometimes, but sometimes I really need somebody to guide me. Like, yo, bro, you keep dying for a reason. Bring your butt over this way. Like, I'm handling them. I got.
I was looking at the first one, right? And even with that, you kind of need like another, little group of people with you and stuff. But then I was like looking at gameplay of this one, and I was like, no, this looks way more intense.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the first one, I kind of looked like, yeah, maybe I can handle by myself a little bit or something like that. This one is like, oh no, all heck breaking loose. I need a squad. I'm not even gonna attempt to dip my toes in without
You looking like a nameless NPC, a nameless person in an anime. You know what I'm saying? Someone go, yeah, the one you only hear on the radio. You know what I'm saying? They're coming. No.
You don't see the dude. You just hear the.
You hear his gunfire. I got him. I'm pinning him. Wait. No.
Like, what?
Where's Vito? Like I would love for, and not, I love games like those, to be honest with you, because you can do silly and fun stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, let's all go out on our anime voices. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like you, and you get, yeah, you get worked up. You know what I'm saying? Never say. You know what I'm saying?
All thing we need is the slow motion of my characters.
Right, right. The little, the giant circles of blood. Yeah.
Then you got to show the up close eye. You know how eyes get wide. Hey, you know who never died like that, but always looked like he died every time he got hit with that fire? Vegeta. Look at how he looked. He I'm like, bro, I thought you was dead. Thought you was gone. You twitching and stuff with it. Like, oh my god, did he put it? Did his arm go through? Nah, he's got punched really, really hard.
Right, man. Where that back? I'm always
You and I always wondered too. Like, look, you see you see that line? I'm like, they spine gotta be gone, bro. Even if it wasn't a spine, like a lungs or something is gone. Something is gone. Something not right.
Like he got ended right there, and they just
Somebody ain't using the bathroom right.
That one cough of blood.
Hey, but that's crazy that Vegeta had to look when he get hit, but Yamcha died. You don't hear nothing. He gone, like that's it. Yamcha was quiet. He was quiet with his death, his punches, everything.
So, Brad Smith, after seeing that extended pause gameplay of Reina Tiz, that's anticipated game of the year. Okay, Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope is good, not as good as Kingdom Battle. I remember last week you saying that it was on sale on Amazon, so you jumped on that. He's oh yeah, he is the final boss. Oh no, he's the final boss in Ref. Okay, he's not. Okay. A few weeks ago, I was playing Robotech. Oh, Robotech. Yes, that's hot. Playing it on the GameCube. That's the only way you could play it. I don't play the PlayStation 2 version. So I've been playing. I've actually finally relaxed on Diablo.
Oh, did I tell you it was on Game Pass? And I was just about to indulge in y'all sin, and I was like, nah, I can't.
It's a fun game. It's a fun game.
I already look, put like this. Too much Lilith is too much for me. And you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, well, actually, to be honest with you, she's not as prominent as you think she is in there, but she is the main like boss that you fight at the end. Spoiler. Yeah. I mean,
but what's crazy is she the main boss up in the Midnight Sun, so that's why I was like, and I feel like I got to cleanse after playing it because I've been playing it heavy. I was like, yeah, let me. I gotta anoint my PlayStation real quick.
Yeah, I feel you. That's actually I've only fought her once because after you beat the game, whenever you start a new character, you can just choose to start after the game ends. So that way you can just build your character and do all the stories like story. I call that loosely / like seasonal stuff after that. Because there's a whole plethora of stuff that happens after that. You just have to beat the game once. which is cool. There's other times like you can still go back and fight her whenever you want to, but like unless you're a level 100 and you just at this point are just looking for like weapons to top you off, pause. Uh,
I was just about to say, I'm like, wait.
you don't really need to fight her at all. So yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a skippable moment. I mean, the fight itself, she's decently hard. Um, but yeah, since I haven't been playing Diablo 4, instead I actually restarted Tales of Vesperia. Um, and made sure that I didn't add the times 10. I think there was 10 times 10 experience, and then there was 5 times 5 experience. Five of those times 5 experiences, if I'm wording it correctly. That's why I jumped up so high with experience when I was playing the game. So I made sure not to click on that this time, so I can actually enjoy the story and the difficulty of the game. And it's actually pretty fun. I don't like the fact that there's such a pause in between attacks for your character, but like that's just how all Tales games go. It's like a strategic type of thing, but very fun game so far. I've gotten a few new characters and everything. I'm further than what I was when I played when I had the like really high level or whatever. So that's cool. I'm excited to play more of that. I've been playing Mario Golf. You already know how that goes with the Game Boy Color. I actually started Mario Tennis too, and I figured out that is actually I'm gonna say both Camelot did some work on the Game Boy. Both Mario Golf and Mario Tennis is actually really dope on there. Um, Tennis is a little bit harder to get used to, but it still plays just like the N64 version, just like watered down to a GameCube version. So if you haven't played that, I would definitely check that out. I would definitely play that as well. But Mario Golf still the GOAT of all Mario Golf games to me. But other than that, what game am I waiting for? Eiyuden Chronicles. I don't know why I have to say that. Eiyuden Chronicles comes out at the end of this month. I'm excited for it. That's the RPG that I've been waiting for. Everything else can kick rocks. That includes Dragon's Dogma 2, which everybody's saying pick it up. But I even talked to one of my cousins. Shout out to Haba on Twitter. He was like, "Yeah, it's really good." He's like, "But yeah, you need to wait for it." He's like, within a couple, and this is what Andre said too, within a couple weeks that it's going to drop down in sales anyway. So I figured I'll go ahead and wait. It's not one of those games like Call of Duty where you got to be the first on to, make sure you stay in the circle and in the loop of how much experience you have. It's not one of those type of games. So I'm in no rush. Joe Bo said garbage on the play. Yeah. Robotech is definitely garbage on the PS2. He said I bought Sword of Berserker for the Dreamcast the other day. And go, wow. For $5. That's at Goodwill for $5. That's bananas. I feel like any Dreamcast game at this point in time should be more than $5, unless it was really garbage. But that's crazy. That's crazy. So our main topic. I guess I'll put this out as a public service announcement. Next week, we are indefinitely. It doesn't matter what news that we're going through. We can hold off for a week. I appreciate as many of you guys coming through as you do every week. So we have enough people. We have enough people coming on the streams and going live that even if something big happens, either one, we will stream that, which if it's a direct or something like that, we'll stream it before that day, or two, we can hold off on whatever news is talked about, unless it's like a console releasing. But we can hold off on any kind of news like that to the following week. That way we have it like super stacked, because we are definitely going to be finishing off the best of the generation. I still got it right here, sitting right here. Somebody's winning this. They're winning a prize. So we're still doing that. Make sure if you are a part of it to come next week. And even if you weren't here for part 1, still come from part 2 because this game gets wild. Anybody can still win this, trust me. Chanel said Camelot, unfortunately, there we go. Camelot, unfortunately, recently is in chains compared to their earlier outings where my Golden Sun 4. Oh, right. Let my group Camelot cook. Yeah. Did they make? I don't even think they made Mario Golf. Did they make Mario Golf and Super Dash and Mario Tennis? Because I don't think they did. Or Super Rush, not Super Dash. Super Rush. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the Camelot team. Let's see. Nintendo. Gameplay. 6th installment. Nintendo Direct. Unique. Stop. Yeah, it doesn't. It just says Nintendo on here, so I'm doubting that it's probably from them. I don't think it is. But yeah, definitely check that out. So the main topic at hand. Shadow was actually supposed to come in. Let me see if he messaged me. Because as you guys can see, this is also like a slash Shadowcast as well. I clicked on the wrong thing. He's watching the Braves currently. So if the Braves are still playing, then that's probably why he hasn't jumped in. Which means if they are done, he will be here collecting himself soon. Not me, slightly stalling. What is that? MLB? It's the top of the. No, that's the Yankees.
Yeah, we are top of the night.
They're at top of the night too.
I don't know. I'm talking about Yankees.
Oh, Atlanta. There you are.
Yes, I am a Yankee fan.
It don't look like they're Atlanta. Oh, they just won. Yep, Braves just won. Won to or 9-8. 9-8? I think that's right. I can't read these things. But they're highlighted and the Diamondbacks are not. So let's just put it that way. They won.
Yeah, UConn doing their thing right now. Yeah. Get this bracket right.
Jay said, let's go Yankees. Chanel said, makes rituals with the Oreo poster. Hey, you're right. In the background, Killer Instinct.
Oh. Alabama ain't finna let up, though. I ain't gonna lie. Alabama's balling.
It's got a charge. It's got a charge, Chanel. It's got a charging effect to it. So anyway, so we are talking about the truth of the Wii U and the media. So if any of you guys watched or looked at any of the posts that that Shadow's been posting, I've been posting, Andre's been posting, which I'm kind of surprised he's not here too. We have been going back and forth and
just say Sean from Street Fighter 6 times and he'll come.
Right. He'd be like, whoa. I predicted that a while ago. So we've been going back and forth about the Wii U and kind of talks on that. Jay brought to my attention another troll or it was the same troll, but like a conversation they had, and like that one was silly. He was killing himself with his own stuff, like I'll give uh, a little passage, if you will. So he was talking about how originally he was talking about how Stellar Blade was killing um, anything that the Switch ever had. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. So let me understand. Like, are you saying the sales of Stellar Blade is killing anything that Nintendo has put out? And he said yes. So I was like,
What's the sales for Stellar Blade?
I will tell you this, it ain't nowhere near close to any of the highest sales for the Switch. But it was on I think it was #1 on PlayStation's most sold list or most pre-orders or something. Yeah, I mean, they don't even really have numbers on here, but it sat up on #1 for there. It's 0, it hasn't even been released yet. Oh, well, there you go. That's even worse. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
Ouch.
no, it's a pre-order right now. Yeah, no,
The
it's
sales
not.
for Celebrated 0 because so it's the highest pre-ordered game right now on the PlayStation 5. And you said it was killing anything that Nintendo would come out with.
Killing
Even if
what
we
though? That's what I'm trying to like. What are you killing if it ain't even out yet? I
right.
mean, do we have pre-orders? Are we talking about pre-orders at this point? Like what we got on the pre-orders
Yeah,
on
if you say pre-orders are your like actual orders, if those translate to actual orders, the highest, well, I said Animal Crossing New Horizons. I mean, that's already gonna kill you. But even if I was like that plus Mario Kart 8 is at like what 60 something, 50 something million, 58 million Mario Kart 8. Like Stellar Blade ain't gonna sell 58 million copies. Like that's not realistic. Let's stop the cap. Um,
it ain't finna sell more than Hogwarts. That's what I predict.
Look and listen, and even even if you talking about them two games, then you have to put in like every single game that's sold like that much on the Switch. You talking about the Pokemon games. You're talking about
Question.
Zelda games.
Who said this?
Oh, it was a troll of some sort. So then basically I told him about um oh, what up, Retro? Appreciate you coming through, my dude. He said Animal Crossing the GOAT. Um so I so then he proceeded to show me this list, right? This list of all these games that PlayStation had in its lifetime, and how they were all better than the Switch as far as sales, right? So
Shadow.
right. So I'm like, wait a minute. The Braves won. That's all that matters. um. So I was like, you realize, because then he was talking about how I was like, the Stellar Blade is only on the PlayStation 5 on top of that, right? So then he's like, he shows me this list, and it's all like the first 10 or 12 games is on the PlayStation 4. And I'm like, bro, all your games are on the PlayStation 4. You're not even talking about the PlayStation 5. And you was talking about Stellar Blade on top of that. So I was like, no, and none of these games are selling as nearly as Mario by itself. And so he said that he was like, well, Mario Kart 8 only sold that much because it was bundled with the Switch. But I'm like, yo, look at the top 10 games that you just put in your list. all of them have bundles to them. Like New Horizons, God of War, Spider-Man. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? You need just stop. Nintendo said, I think it'll sell like 3 to 5 million. I think those are generous numbers, and I wouldn't be mad if I got those numbers. I think that's a good amount for a game like that. Like even considering Bayonetta in that like same category, 3 to 5 million is actually a decent sale for those type of games.
Yeah.
Legend, bro, he said, bro, Stellar Blade won't even get close to yeah, let's sell it. Nintendo's first party game thing. Like that's oh, here we go. See, I told you it takes a charge effect. You got to do it, but you got to charge it in order to get it, and then you get it, and then it comes through.
Yeah, that plus a beer. So
Jay said he also thinks Sakurai will go work for. Yeah, okay, yeah, put that boy to sleep.
Yeah.
So that was my little piece, and then Shadow had.
It's just the lust right now, dude. Dudes are talking out their neck because they see some yams, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So now they saying some ridiculous off the wall stuff. It's just the yams. That's all it is.
That's all I see. By the way, of videos like this game is excellent, and it's that three-quarter like bottom up view.
Yeah, the jiggle mechanic when she blocks, you know what I'm saying, her whole body, you know what I'm saying, they go, it's accurate. It really jiggles like that.
This isn't that Wagos guy, is it? I didn't even know he had a channel at one point, but apparently he does, and it's, I don't even know if you can call that entertaining, but what do you think a fanboy would be if they had a channel? Like, how drab do you think that would be? Yeah, just ridiculous. Talking point after talking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just weird. So I'm gonna play this demo, and I'm gonna see how it's gonna be. Like, if anything, I play female action games all the time. PNO3 is probably one of my favorite games, and not because of her, but because of the engine of that game. The combat system of that game is the Mercenaries engine in Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you have to string together kills and stuff like that is how you get bonuses, and that's exactly what that game's about. So, yeah, that's definitely not a first in my book. And definitely played a bunch of games that have a femme fatale in it, just like there's a bunch of He-Man looking like dudes in a lot of other games. Which, you know, if you asked a regular woman back in the day, back then, yeah, like legit Fabio was on the cover of a game. NES game of all things, back in the day. So it's not like it doesn't go both ways.
Right.
It's just for whatever reason it's been male characters for the longest, because for whatever reason, I guess maybe kids then at the time or whatever, that's what you look up to and that's what you want to play as kind of situation. Mm-hmm. They're all miraculously white by some stretch of imagination as well, but that's a completely different conversation. But that's yeah, I said the thing. Sorry. But no,
yeah, we were just about to get into the conversation of the whole Wii U thing on your side.
People are grossly misremembering what happened to Wii U. And we had the podcast about it before, but it's just strange to me how the conversations will go. Like I just got through having a conversation with somebody just now, like let me get this straight. So you're telling me, so I made that post that I guess it kind of picked up a little bit when I said that, someone's trying to say that, Wii U was underpowered or whatever, it was an overpowered Wii or something to that effect. I'm like, no, that's not even close. I'm like, it's more like it was a Xbox One with less RAM, which it effectively was, with regards to what type of GPU it has and all that other kind of stuff, and RAM as well. Like literally the same makeup. You have eDRAM and you have, Microsoft calls it ESRAM. It's fucking eDRAM. It's from the same manufacturer. They just wanted to come up with their own name or whatever. Like, it's not SRAM, so don't pretend it is. So they have high bandwidth eDRAM, the same amount of it, 32 megabytes of it, and DDR3, the same type of RAM that the Wii U has, right? It just has 4 times more of it. So there's 8 of it.
as far as the DDR3 goes, and there's 2 of it as far as DDR3 goes for Wii U, right? And the same setup. So you use for vertex, pixel shading, and texture cache. That's specifically what the 32 megs of EDRAM is for. So while you're rendering in real time, that's fast, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Everything else is streaming slowly out of the DDR3, and the rest from your storage to the DDR3. That's how the game engine is supposed to function, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have third-party engines out there like Unreal and all that other kind of stuff that add a whole bunch of bloat on top of that because, oh my God, people don't know how to program anymore, and we need people that don't know how to program anymore from all over the world to put their non-knowledge of how to program a game into effect, because this one person that just knows how to render this one thing over here and knows nothing about code is going to send it to this other guy that does know something about code, and they all sitting on top of this thing that sits 7 layers on top of the fucking the assembly that actually runs the game. So that's half of the problems. But yeah, like Chanel said, Wii Vision is yeah. Let's not get it twisted. Like, we had a lot of backlash too, and so did GameCube back in the day. Like, people pretend like, you know, oh, GameCube was so great, blah blah blah. Like, don't get it twisted. You hated Wind Waker when it first came out because you wanted what Twilight Princess was. Let's not get it twisted.
I remember this. Yes.
Let's not get it twisted. We know what Gaming Press was saying then at the time. Oh, we're disappointed that we saw this Toon Link. Oh my God, whatever will we do? Then you end up playing the game and it's great. And actually very mature, by the way. Like, towards the end, there's a lot of violence in that game.
Yeah.
But it's just weird how you misremember things. The main thing about like that whole conversation was, so you're gonna say the Wii U is significantly weaker than the Xbox One, right? Even as far as like GPU goes, which is weird to me because they're like not that far apart. Southern Islands and the 6000 series GPU, yeah, I'm gonna say 6000 series because I haven't seen any evidence to suggest this.
Like what a 68?
Yeah, it's like a 6670. Is the equivalent to what it would have been at the time. So, and people are going to debunk that because they want to say, well, we heard from rumors a long time ago that was a 4000 series. Yeah, you're talking about development in 2010. What was around then? Just that. So, but then you have a product that launched in 2012 and they had to die shrink this and make it smaller so it can be 45 nanometer. What do you think that was at the time? So it was a 6000 series GPU, and especially with some of the other things we confirmed as far as UVD version 3 being on there and stuff like that. That's not something you could retrofit on an older generation GPU. That's something that's inherent to the logic of the on the transistors of the GPU itself. So it was a newer generation GPU. By far, it is a 6000 series instead of a 5000 series. Why people would think it's a 4000 series that's bewildering to me. So that being said, the GPU in the Xbox 360 is an R520. That's an X1000 series GPU. So the Wii U GPU is effectively 6 generations newer than the Xbox 360. I want you to think about that. 6 generations newer. Coming from 2005, well, effectively 2004 because they had to work on it ahead of time, right? And so 2005, this product launches in September. To 2012, when the Wii U launches. So you're talking 7 years time, and you're saying that the Wii U is only marginally, like, there's so many things computationally that the Wii U would do in its sleep that the 360 would struggle to do on the GPU side of things. And I couldn't even get into all of that in the form of this podcast. But for whatever reason, in retrospect, what we want to say is, well, the CPU was bad, so we're just going to say all of the Wii U is bad. Right. I can't even say that the CPU was bad because of the way the system was designed. So, and people don't want to understand, they don't want to piece that apart, and they don't want to go through that whole conversation. So I try to, as much as possible, containerize the conversation. Hey, why do you think the CPU is weak? Well, it couldn't do these things. Who said that? Well, this person said that. Why did they say that? Well, because it has low SIMD. Okay. Does low SIMD mean the CPU is bad? Yeah. Why? Because it means you can't do certain things or whatever. You can't do certain floats. Oh, okay. But does the system as a whole, is it incapable of doing that? And that's when the question gets weird. That's when we start getting, oh, well, now we got to change it to an ad hominem attack. Now we got to change the conversation to look at these ports. No, you said this CPU couldn't do this thing. What about the entire console? Because the entire point of the console is heterogeneous compute, which is the same thing. I mean, it's a thing that Nintendo's been doing for a long time. All the way back to GameCube, it was a thing where, hey, you know what? My GPU is struggling over here. The CPU is going to add on top of that to help. Now the inverse is true with the case of all these consoles going forward. From the Wii U forward, everything is being heterogeneous compute in the opposite direction. GPUs are highly parallel, right? So all the SIMD instruction happens there. On the PC side of things, it's not that big of a push for you to say, hey, look, well, let's do GPU compute. Mostly on the GPU because of the time it would take to transfer data back and forth from the GPU and the CPU for it to be worthwhile. However, if every CPU that existed had a really, really fast set of RAM that will almost be as fast as L3 cache in the CPU, and you could transfer that data back and forth in a data path that's already been set by the OS, and every game that you're targeting, and it's in the SDK for every single game that you're trying to program, maybe it's not such a bad idea to do all of your high-level SIMD stuff on the GPU and then pass back the result to the CPU, and you can do it in time without any lag. Guess what kind of PC that's called? That's called a console. Where all the pieces work together. And for Wii U, for whatever reason, I mean, it just so happens that what I'm talking about right now works on Wii U. The CPU can access L1 cache, L2 cache, and it shares that EDRAM pool that I was talking about for the GPU on the CPU side as L3 cache. All three cores see it as L3 cache. So if something happened on the GPU and the CPU wanted a result, it's sitting right there. There's a bus right there where both the GPU and the CPU can see it at the same time. So if you know what you're doing, hey, I don't know, we're Breath of the Wild. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff to run on here, and we only got 3 cores here. What are we going to do with all this data that needs to be piped in and out? Well, the GPU can get a whole bunch of results, send them back, and the CPU is like, hey, do another task that a GPU isn't expecting.
Right.
So if I have that conversation with people, they don't want to have it. They say, oh, well, oh God, no, because the way developers are doing, it's not about the way developers are doing things. What's sitting in front of you? Because your job as a developer is, hey, you got this thing in front of you. You got to do things to make it work. Our problem is, as gamers, and I hate to say this because a game console exists for a reason. It is a set, fixed piece of hardware that developers are supposed to target. And by target, I mean, hey, your assets, your engine, your logic, and all your memory management needs to be as effective as possible for that target. You don't say, hey, well, our demo for PC is built this way and the console just can't handle it. Like, no console can handle what you built for PC. You're going to have to go, hey, you know all that magical stuff you did to get it to run on PS5? You got to do that for every platform. You can't just blame the hardware. All the extra work you did, because you didn't just say, hey, SDK deploy on PS5 and it magically worked. That didn't happen. You did stuff. What was the stuff that you did? The optimization that you did. You have to do that for every platform. And not just 3 months worth, because you spent 2 years on PS5. You spent 3 years on PS4. And now you're blaming the hardware because you can't do it in 6 months on Switch or Wii U or insert Nintendo name here.
Right.
And the same will be true. And I say this because trust and believe this is going to be the case, and this is going to be the narrative for whatever Nintendo's successor is going to be. A game is going to run bad. It's going to have all kind of issues. It's going to have memory leaks and whatnot. And the first thing people are going to do is blame the hardware.
Yeah, it's not powerful enough.
No matter how powerful it is. Because guess what? Guess what system's having this problem right now? Series X.
Mm-hmm.
What's the excuse there? Why are we getting games running 30 frames per second and they're running at 60 on PS5? Where's the excuse there?
Mm-hmm.
Every number is higher on Series X. So what are we doing? It's the magical SSD. Man, they both got SSDs, bro.
Yeah.
So what's the excuse? Games come broken on PC. What's the excuse? This driver over here. Well, managing drivers is part of what process? Optimization. I really want people to understand this, and I know a lot of times I'm on a soapbox and stuff like that, but it's the people and it's the code.
Mm-hmm.
It always is. Like, you can't. If anything, PS5 and Series X should be an alarm. It is. You could have said in previous generations, "Hey, I'm crazy. I'm talking outside. I don't know what I'm talking about." Blah blah blah. But PS5 and Series X should be the alarm that, hey, maybe I might know what I'm talking about.
Right. The wake up call.
It should be a huge wake up call. So if you're saying that, it's not worth it for them to spend that much money to get these things to do whatever, blah blah blah. Okay. That's cool, but guess what you're doing? You're creating a slippery slope, and now you're seeing it. Well, the excuse that we use to not develop well, to give this really bad performance, we're continuing to do that on every platform now. Now, we don't know what your excuse is. Just get a PC. Just get a PC, guys. And then when you buy a PC, you still have the same problems. You have people. I mean, you buy a game, you got a brand new GPU, you just got a brand new CPU, you water cooled everything, and then you notice, hey man, the minimum requirement said this game only needed 4 gigs of RAM, and I'm sitting here with 64, and it's chewing up 40 of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I getting 30 frames per second when I got a GPU that could do 120? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Your PC isn't all powerful enough, apparently. If you keep the same logic, the same broken logic would be your PC isn't powerful enough.
Mm-hmm.
At some point,
only at that time is it the developer's fault.
Yeah. at some point, you got to see the writing on the wall. And I've been saying this since how long I've been on YouTube? 2011 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, about 13 years now. Like, I don't know how else I could tell you other than like it's right in front of your face. And the games are getting bigger, the budgets are getting bigger, and after they're done with the project, they're fired. So it's becoming a thing where it's a big problem, and I've been saying for a long time. I think for at least a generation, we've been in a crash. We've effectively been living in one.
Yeah,
we just didn't. People just didn't want to, or the media wouldn't admit it because they still got money to extract from it. As long as there's arguments on the internet, they can use that for clicks to stay relevant somewhat, and that's their bottom line. The rest of it is handled by the third party developers behind the scenes or the publishers behind the scenes that pay them. But that's a whole nother, neither here nor there. That's why you get the comparison videos and stuff for different versions of games, and no developer ever steps forward and says what type of work they put into stuff like that.
Right.
And that's really weird to me too. There's developers all over Twitter. They're all over Twitter, and they see all these discussions and they never pipe in. Why do you think that is? And I'm not just saying, because they'll get fired by the project that they're currently on. No. There's developers that signs NDAs that are now null and void. Like, the time has passed for those agreements. We're talking about games from the 6th generation, the 7th generation, and the beginning of the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
They can speak up on some of this stuff, but they don't. Why do you think that is? To the point where you ask them a direct question on Twitter, they don't respond.
They'll answer everybody else, though.
Yeah. Or they'll say, I really like that game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, give us details about that game that you worked on way back when. Well, it was a it was 15 of us, and we just no. Like, what issues did y'all come across? Like code, that kind of stuff. People, they don't have anything to say. Like, I really want people to know what it really is about. It's people, because you have teams of individuals that put these games together. You have publishers that greenlight or no to a project off the strength. That's not in our wheelhouse. We're not going to do that. And if they can't pay for it, it ain't happening. So
I think what's funny too is that, when you have these conversations with people, we talk about the double, not double negative. What am I looking for? The double standard. The other piece of it is well, this sucks here, because if you look at this and the way it plays, it doesn't play as good as what I see here for this game, and this game is so much better. And I think we talked about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think one of it was mentioned, like, well, this game plays better, but then it was like, yeah, but what about Need for Speed? Like that game was from the PC port, not from the 360 points. So what happened?
Literally the definitive console version of that game. So where are we at? Oh, that game's not as demanding. You sure? It's using PC assets, bro, and a PC engine.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's more demanding than the 360 version. And we ain't gonna talk about PS3. We ain't gonna talk about all the screen tearing that both of those consoles had, like, effectively for the entire generation.
Yeah.
And there's like 2 or 3 games on Wii U that have it like that in spades. And this Darksiders 2, I think, was pretty bad with it. Other than that, I can't really think off the top of my head too many games that really had it like that, because Wii U just had the RAM and it had the engine to support.
And so that main point, and they got no answer back. I think that was like kind of like the shutdown point, was that we were talking and they were like, well, what did he say? To the effect of, like, this system is so much weaker and it's not getting this, but like the Xbox and the PS4 are getting all these. But I think he said something to the effect of the Power PC.
Yeah, talking about the CPU or whatever. Somebody being and so guys, I guess he claimed to be a developer or whatnot, but he said that porting to Power PC is a pain in the ass, and I'm like, interesting, but porting from Power PC is not a pain in the ass?
Right.
Let me get this straight. GTA 5 was ported to 2 different platforms from PS3 and 360, heavily Power PC, and heavily CPU bound for that reason. So how did they go from heavily CPU bound to heavily GPU bound in the ports that they put out for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and Series S? Because it's clearly GPU bound now. If you try to run the PC version of the game, you'll run into those issues where it is more GPU limited than it is CPU limited, and obviously memory too. So if you run it with less than 8 gigs of RAM, you're gonna have problems.
Right.
So how did they do that? And so that's the point where magically, Rockstar North has the budget to do that twice, going from Big Indian to Little Indian for 2 completely different platforms to port to 2 brand new different platforms. Actually 4, because we're talking about PS5 and Series X and all that now, right? But they can't do the same thing to move it from Power PC to Power PC.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. And so, I know what they're trying to say. Well, those engines were higher. They were higher SIMD for those things. Yeah. So you treat it the same way. The same way you treated it for Xbox One is the same way you treat it for Wii U. All the things that you would run as far as SIMD tasks, the majority of them will work on the GPU. and that's how you would build that engine. And it's not like there aren't examples. Lego City Undercover is literally the GTA engine that you would use for that system. It's not like there isn't something already there.
Right.
Say what you will about loading times, but that's why you iterate on that version of the game, update the game to make it better. So it's just weird. Like he said he had issues, and then the guy that he was working with or whatever said that they completely scrapped their Wii U project because it was PowerPC. And I'm like, yeah, so but you're paid to port to PowerPC, so what would be the problem? That's my biggest issue. And I'm like, y'all magically act like none of this ever happened when I watched Call of Duty 4 in its entirety get ported to Wii in 480p from Xbox 360 with no loss in any of the campaign. So that couldn't go to Wii U?
Right. They don't want to answer that one.
And really, if anything, that proves that anything could go anywhere. Because you took a quote-unquote HD system and a highly parallel game, and you made it work on a system with one CPU core and 88 megs of RAM. Make it make sense.
So,
make it make sense.
So before I throw these couple of these comments up here, I think it's funny too. Like he was talking about how, like, basically how these games came over to the Xbox and the PS4, and Nintendo was basically sitting by themselves with nothing or something. I can't remember the effect of it, but pretty much it was like, well, developers, like, if either you're saying one of two things. Developers weren't making games until the PS4 and the Xbox One came around. Obviously, we know that's not true. Or two, all the games that they were making, they weren't making 360 and PS3 versions for. Like, it has to be one of those two. And even if it was, they weren't making any games to the PS4 and the Xbox One were coming around, then why not take the games that they already had and move them over to the system like they did with all the other games that they did?
Yep. And here's the other thing too that bothers me so much. Oh, well, this game won't run because it's blah blah blah, and I'm like, this engine is too strong, it can't run or do these things or whatever, or it'll run like a slideshow and all these things. And I have to say with authority that the biggest, well, not necessarily authority, it should be common sense. The biggest impact on performance for any system is going to be resolution, exponentially so. So if at any point you have a game, oh, well, this game on PS4 is running at 1080p and there's no way that Wii U could do. Yeah, you're right. Okay, sure. Yeah, it wouldn't run that game at 1080p. What about 720p? What about 720p plus the gamepad? That's not even that's a little over 1 million pixels per frame. It's not doing the 2 million that PS4 is doing, but it can do it in 1.2. Right? Math is only math, right?
Right.
And we've effectively halved the resolution. You know, and you throw that out there, and it's like, well, no, it can't. And I'm like, well, but do the math though. But do the math. Well, it's gonna need the amount of teraflops, and the Wii U just doesn't have. Does it need them though?
This is how I think they see it. If you writing with your left hand, right, and you good at writing, this is your 1080p, right? But instead, now you drop it down to 720p, and then you got 480p with the other hand, and it's like, oh, but the computer can't do logic of writing with the right hand and the left hand at the same time. It just needs one hand, and so you need two CPUs to be able to write two different codes and make two different things. But we've already seen that with Call of Duty.
So I'll just say this. I've been seeing a lot of this, and what was the craziest thing about me? I would hear in 2012 was, oh, well, the Wii U CPU it's just too slow. It's so lower clocked, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine, well and good, right? Okay, so that means obviously y'all are waiting for something better down the line that y'all can go ahead and use that has a higher clock CPU, right? So yeah, that 4 and 5 gigahertz PS4 and Xbox One, yeah, that should be able to do it for you, right? Oh wait, PS4 and Xbox One, the clock cycles are half that of the 360 and the PS3. Whoa. How do y'all get around that? Interesting. So now you have half the amount of clock cycles. Oh, but we have more CPU cores. Oh, okay. Cool. Right? To do what? Oh, we got to write this audio thread. And I was like, what if you didn't need an audio thread? What if you had a DSP you could just write to? What if it was like already on the system and you could just call it? Oh, now you don't need that CPU thread. Now you don't need two of them. And this is, and the reason why I'm saying this is, there's a developer testimony for this happening for The Witcher 3 on Switch, because the Switch has a custom DSP. Same thing for this other game too. They had to do the same thing. They learned the same lesson in Nier Automata as well. I don't have it here, but Nier Automata for a Switch, they did this exact same thing. And because they ran out of CPU threads, and they're like, why are we using an audio thread? Turns out a lot of this code is bloat. And that's happening probably more often than it should to systems that don't need this. So even on PS4, you probably could have better performance if people knew how the scheduling system worked on that system. And believe it or not, the PS4 scheduling system is the same one that was on PS3. Don't tag me for that. Mark Cerny said that. And they're still saying it at developer conferences to this day. PS5 is the same way. That's why they frown upon you using SMT on those cores, because they have an 8-core setup for scheduling things on CPUs. They have a job system set up for that they've been using since PS3. So it's a people thing. It's the way that they develop their engine. And if anybody feels that what I'm saying right now is not factual, feel free to Google it.
I was just about to say,
you'll see the developer conferences that I'm talking about, and they'll literally show you PowerPoint slides of their job system.
That was the one with that's how they started off with Spider-Man.
Yeah, and The Last of Us. That's how they did The Last of Us on PS3. So it's not something that's new. They're just like, hey, this is the way we do business. Let's build this hardware around the way we do business and keep on doing it until the wheels fall off.
Levon said, why didn't Far Cry 4 come to Wii U? Yeah, it was on the PS. I would say that's definitely due to the same thing that it's due to with the Switch. I mean, we ain't got no Far Cry's on the Switch either.
Yep. Levon out here being king of the crumb side still. Appreciate you coming through. But yeah, that's the same thing as that's why Crysis 3 isn't there.
Yeah.
And literally
finally showed up on the Switch.
Yep. Literally finished for Wii U. We'll never see that SKU.
Landrew, what up, Landrew? Wii U devs purposely sabotaged it. Even early on in Switch, they said PS4 ports were impossible, but then all these developers suddenly figured out once it was selling like hotcakes, it was game time. Yeah.
I remember that. I was there. I was there. I remember those. Oh, we can't. There's not enough cores. There's not enough threads. But you can get a game up and running in 24 hours on Switch. So, that sounds like profit. So what we're gonna do is everything we just said. Don't worry about that. We'll retcon it.
I wonder if you can still even look up. What did the developer say? We can't even get the game what did he say? We can't even get the title screen running.
Yeah, that was Resident Evil 5, I believe. They were saying you couldn't get the title screen running on Wii U, I think it was at the time. Yeah, and Triple M, I did see your messages from the videos about the King Crystal. Yeah, I'm still looking into that. I have to bring my channel back. It'll be back though.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I can't find it, but that's wild. Yeah, I remember these. I remember these conversations as like the first things, especially in that first few years of the Switch's life is like the headline of any news article was, can blah 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 run on the Switch? Can blah 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 run on the Switch? And the first question they would ask, and you would have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, is, so will we be getting a Switch version of this? And it got to the point where it was like, we can't even run this game, can't even be ran on the Switch, or it's using this engine or something that's not even capable, that's far superior than the Switch, and
which is killing me because I'm like, that stuff runs everywhere, and it's just a tool. It's not a metric for performance. That's what a benchmark is for. Yeah. So I like Gwen helped out, and Jay Biggs in the chat. He's that was for Wii. Oh, okay. Resident Evil 5 said it couldn't run the start screen. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But all of Call of Duty 4 could though. All of Call of Duty 4, entire whole ass game. That's amazing to me. And Gwen talked about Arkham Knight. That was
Arkham Knight. Yeah. And
talking about the Batmobile couldn't be rendered or something like that. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like y'all know, and that's the other thing too. Y'all know, these modern game engines are still using like sixth generation polygon counts for models. Like for a whole scene, it's way more polygons now. But for individual models, they're still using LODs to make these models like way lower. Like you're talking anywhere between 10 to 20,000 polygons, because they add all the effects on top, and that's what takes up the majority of the bandwidth, memory bandwidth, instead of actual triangles. So, and with when you can do like tessellation and all that stuff now, they don't spend budgets. They don't spend polygon budgets like that anymore, because you can synthesize it with tessellation and other techniques. So, so you're talking about, a character that's on screen, that's your main character on screen, a la Eve or something to that effect, whatnot, and you're looking at 30 at the most, maybe 100,000. I remember at a time, it was a big deal when Mortal Kombat 4 was comprised of like, it was character models with 1 million polygons, and like that's still not practiced regularly today. But Raiden was like 1 million, and like Midway was bragging about this at one point in time, and obviously consoles could do several million polygons per second around that time, but it wasn't feasible, because what do you have left for the rest of the game? Like you need the environment, you need other objects, and you have to double that if you have certain shadows and stuff like that. So it became a thing. And if you did cube mapping, guess what? Now you're doubling your rendering engine. So that became just a thing to say, hey, look, we can do this for 1 or 2 characters at a time. So LODs became a thing, and lower poly meshes became a thing. But yeah, you don't even see the character model of Raiden is more technically advanced now than what we currently see in modern day games, because we do other techniques to blend the final image. So it's just kind of strange. Same thing for like a Factor 5 as well. They rendered like models and stuff like that were several 100,000 polygons per frame, and we don't really see that much for most of the characters that you'll see in a game. The NPC would be a couple of thousand in a game now, if that. So it's just weird to see that we're still seeing games being made the exact same way they were in 2006.
So Dark Voice says, so since we are on the subject of development, how do you feel about the new controversy of 30 frames per second, since Hellblade 2 was confirmed to run at 30 frames? Personally, I'm fine with it. What's so funny, this is what we talk about like time and time again, is like when these games come out and they 30 frames. Like, how often do you hear I'm not playing Hellblade because it's 30 frames? Because I've heard not one time.
But Hellblade 1 is unplayable on Switch because it's 30 frames per second.
Right.
Funny. It's funny. Unplayable. You can decide when you want something to be playable or unplayable. Right. If it's 30 frames per second, but 8K, oh, I love that.
Right.
I'm all over it.
30 frames per second.
30 frames per second with DLSS, I'm all over it. 30 frames per second with ray tracing, I'm all over it. I'm about it. I thought it was unplayable, though.
Yeah.
And these same people will be quote unquote retro gaming enthusiasts and sit down and play Ocarina of Time on the original console at 15 frames per second.
It's still the greatest game of all time.
Unplayable, though. Make it make sense. Something is happening there in that sub 30 frames per second, the way your response time is still accurate. I wonder what that is.
That's wild.
It's almost like the developers knew what the frame rate was going to be, and they adjusted your input response for it. I wonder what that's called. That never comes up in discussions when we talk about frame rate, by the way. It's just, is it playable or is it not?
Right.
Like, some of y'all don't know how to play games if that's the case. Like, because I played Tomb Raider on Steam Deck, and that's all over the place. But you know what? I was able to finish the game with it. So, you know, I was anywhere between 10 to 40 frames per second.
Jay Big said Dreamcast guy had a meltdown about the 30 frames per second for Hellblade.
And that doesn't surprise me.
All right.
This guy thought the PS5 had fucking gigaflop CPU or a teraflop CPU and shit. I'm like, that don't exist. Nowhere does a teraflop CPU exist.
You still get headlines like PS5 and Switch lead sales. Then you read the article and they have to clarify that PS5 lead by dollar amount because definitions are hard. Yeah.
Because saying Nintendo is leading is bad. Yeah. The last tweet that I put up, well, one of the last tweets that I put up that was an image. Well, like, hey, you just figure this out on your own. Because they said, yeah, you know, I think that press did have an influence on what was going on with Wii U then at the time. And I just posted a screenshot of 2 articles from the same outlet. From I wanted to say Kotaku, but Kotaku avoided it altogether. It was another outlet I put up, and you could just see the headline of them talking about 2 different consoles meeting the same metric. And it was Wii U selling 3 million consoles in 3 months, and Xbox One selling 3 million consoles in 3 months 1 year later, because they obviously launched at 2 different Novembers, right?
Right.
Xbox One article, Xbox sells 3 million consoles. That's it. A year before, the same outlet, Wii U sells 3 million consoles amid other issues, and they're cutting back, and oh god, we don't know how this console is going to survive. Legitimately the gist. And you can literally see this throughout. Just I would say use Wayback Machine, because if you try to use just Google right now, you either get no results or you'll get edited results, or all the articles that you'll go to, the headlines have been edited or the article has been edited over time. Because, and what the funny thing about it is, they were edited around 2017.
Right.
It's almost like they don't want you to know what they did. But there was a concerted effort for all major outlets to trash that system in any way that they could, any way that they could grasp. A dude said the CPU was crap, that never developed for Nintendo at all in any way, shape, or form. This guy worked on net code for for NBA Live for the PlayStation for like 3 or 4 years, and he said the Wii U CPU is trash. Right? Didn't give a reason why or anything. Every single outlet ran with that quote. And he was forced to recant the statement 2 months later. And a few outlets updated their article. And if they did, you had to scroll all the way down to the bottom of it. And they still left the headline the same.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that before, and then about the other thing about the CPU was from a Japanese developer, and they intentionally mistranslated his statement.
Yeah,
and he had to give another statement, and then they retracted the art. Then they just pulled the articles all together. So a couple of old stale websites that are no longer available anymore, it's still a headline for them because they never edited it, so it's still out there. But you can't say that these things didn't happen, and that's the problem that I have. Like, and what it does is we could bring a new guest on this podcast right now and ask them, what is your first impression of Wii U? And it's going to be those articles.
Yep.
Everything from those articles is what they're going to say. What is weak? What's weak about it? The CPU. Where'd you hear that from? Pause.
Mm-hmm. Well, I played plenty of games, and the CPU and the game didn't run as well. I felt like it just didn't. It was kind of clunky, and everything was about it was clunky. And then, not to mention that the tablet felt kind of like a child's toy. So, that was kind of really hard to get my hands to grasp around because it was just such a big device, and it was just not the great experience. Hold on, comma. But I really did love Wii U though.
So what what you just gave was the real time response. If we actually invited that person on, engagement on Twitter is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. On Twitter, it is, oh God, you said the exact same thing, and I'm caught.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do now is going to attack you with ad hominems and say, oh, you don't know about tech, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't. Tell me more. Oh, well, you don't know, so the conversation's over. I'm going to call you more names. I'm going to say the same thing over and over again. I'm going to say it's weak over and over again. I'm like, okay, but like, give reasons why. No, it's just weak, and you don't know this is trash. Look at the other games, blah, blah, blah. Look at games. What's happening in those games?
Right.
Oh, you don't know. It's just because it's on Twitter. It's easy to just do that. Or
right.
Quote somebody else or throw a link somewhere in real time on this discussion right here. You got to admit everything in real time. You don't have nothing to point to, and you got to tell me why you think that way, because you can't just ignore and pretend I didn't say that in real time. Because in Twitter you could just. That part of the argument I'm not going to talk about. Let me just throw this other thing in here. But in real time, no, motherfucker, I'm asking you. How is your brain working right now? How did you come to this conclusion?
The goalpost move.
Yeah. You can't really do it. Well, you don't. I've had people try to do it in discussion before. Well, no, you're just blah, blah, blah. No, because I'm going to reiterate this question again. You're not going to get away from it. I'm going to keep on asking. How did you come to this conclusion? What information did you use to come up with this conclusion? And it's okay for you to say, yeah, I heard it from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But in your mind, it's not.
You definitely want to be right. You want to make sure that there's no way that he's going to know everything.
And it bewilders me because too many times on here, like just now, I completely forgot something that we were just talking about before. It wasn't about Wii U. It was actually about Wii. J Biggs put it in the chat. Okay, cool. Yeah. I remember that wrong. Cool. Thanks. Too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Too easy. What I look like saying, oh, you're trash. You don't remember this right. Blah, 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 blah. In real time while he's correcting me. How do I look then? But this is exactly the type of mindset that you're dealing with on a daily basis in that hellhole that we converse with on sometimes. So it is what it is, but engagement is engagement, I guess. And some people.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes the engagement, the stupidity of the engagement is like it's entertaining in some spots. And I'm like, you can't be this dumb.
Yep. Like the gamepad felt like Fisher Price. It's too big, it's too wonky, and like Triple don't say, but magically Steam Deck don't apply that way.
Right.
That's funny.
Steam Deck feels perfect in your hands.
That's funny to me. That's so funny to me. I have images of all of them side by side, Switch, Steam Deck, and Wii U.
The weight ratio is perfect.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, but I just say remember how hated every game was on Wii U, but when they got ported to Switch, people saying yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all you gotta do is look at the reviews for like Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, any of those games really.
New Super Mario Bros.
Yep. Like one of the games I liked the most was a Fast Racing Deal. Magically, oh god, like since it's on other platforms now, that was a great game.
Mm-hmm. That one's funny because that one was like what was it on Switch? That was like the if you want F-Zero, here's your chance. Here's your game.
Yeah. But they weren't saying that exactly when it was on Wii U. They were just like, well, it's here. And Digital Foundry kept trying to, like, when they did the review on Fast Racing Neo on Wii U, they kept talking about all the things they did to skirt around the limitations. Like, what do you or maybe they did what they were supposed to do because that's the way the system is designed. I don't know. Because every system has limitations. That's the whole point of knowing them ahead of time when you program for it.
Right.
So you don't run into issues like you do on PC. That's the whole point of developing for a console instead of a PC. On a PC, your mileage will vary because at some point as a developer, you have to make a hard stop, right? And say, we got to ship this game.
Mm-hmm.
How that game performs will depend on what combination of whatever you have executes that game at runtime. Whereas on a console, they're all supposed to be the same because you got the same development kit, you got the same tools, and nothing changes. So unless you're doing something like, I don't know, not updating the firmware on your console or whatever, like your game experience should be the same from console to console.
Right.
And yeah. I mean, it's just crazy to me, man. Man.
Remember how people hated the Virtual Console and its prices was during its time, and how people wanted a Netflix-like service. Now the Switch NSO gives that, and they act like they never hated Virtual Console. Yep. Yeah, heavy. They hated the mess out of Virtual Console.
Yep. So remember, I'll say another thing too. Remember how people hated on NSO because of the voice chat, and I gotta use an app to talk to people, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, because of that, the call clarity is fucking amazing. But they're like, oh, well, it's horrible. You should just be able to take your aux cable and plug it into the top of the console, and just talk that way in every game. And I'm like, well, you can do that in Fortnite. Well, I don't mean that. I mean every game. I'm like, oh, okay. So like Wii U.
You're right.
Oh, we want to talk about that. Oh, yeah, but it was there and it was free.
It was there and free.
Well, that system was trash. I wonder. I want to poll. I wonder how many. If we could ask Spawn Wave to come on our podcast, because since he worked at GameStop during that time, I wonder. I don't think. I think it was a little bit before that. I think I stopped working at GameStop. Right. I think I was 2011. Was the last time I stopped working at GameStop. So I didn't get a chance to see any Wii U's come back in the store. So I wonder if he saw that because he was there the entire 7th and 8th generation, if I'm not mistaken. So he might know. But I wonder if John saw any comeback. But from what I understand, they weren't too hard to come by as it was anyway because Nintendo only made so many. So the people that did buy them, they kept them.
I don't remember ever really seeing them in the store like that. I couldn't recall a single person who had a Wii U and was like, I'm about to take mine to GameStop because I just don't mess with it anymore.
Yeah. And then in 2018, they started retailing for like $500 a piece or some shit. Like, it was just dumb. Like, hard to come across one. And if you wanted one sealed, good luck. It wasn't happening. Yeah, that was an interesting. Like, it's just interesting how misremembered that system was. I remember when I first got that console, I'm like, Jesus, this is slow, and it's like system update. Download the system update day one. I was like, okay, that's a lot better. Then I noticed, hey, it's slow getting into like going in from a game into the menu, and I'm like, but in the menu, I'm doing other stuff.
Right.
When I'm playing the game, I want to sit in and play the game. I don't care about jumping back and forth. Yeah, it's cool to do that on Switch because it is significantly faster than any of the other systems right now. Like even I still have some delays sometimes going in PS5, jumping out of a game, going back and going to do something or whatever. But only thing I would do is like check messages or send a tweet or something from the console. I'll go through like my pictures or whatever, like or video or whatever that I recorded, and then try to make a message out of that or something or whatever to that effect, or just store them and move them somewhere or whatnot. There's nothing I really do jumping out of a game real quick to go into. Now, Xbox One, I'm able to. I haven't really tested this on PS5 since launch, but it didn't work too well at launch. But on Series X, like I was able to open up to like 5 games at once and then jump back into quick resume in between all 5 of them. And that was kind of cool to be able to do, but I really don't see a use case for that. But like I literally had to make this use case up and I still didn't use it. So it's like I don't, unless maybe if you have a lot of people in your house or whatever, but even then it gets weird because you're switching user accounts usually too in between that. So you're doing quick resume going from one game to another, and then people are jumping in and out from their last save point, but then they also have to log out and log back in too. So I don't know, like in reality, I don't know how well that would apply in a household with multiple people.
Right.
So we did a natural thing, which is, just have more than one console. And then, so like, I'm not, my son would never let his PS5 go. So like, obviously I have to have mine. So, that's probably the best way to go about things.
Yeah. Cause I ain't letting no Wii U go. I wasn't even gonna let it go before, but I don't really let my video game consoles go.
Nah, they got to stay in the house forever. And if I have multiple, then I have multiple, then just go from there. Like I got like 3 360s. Yeah, I got 3 of those because I have the launch one that I had to send back in because it got a red ring or whatever, and I have the last one of that. I have the arcade edition and the Xbox One S, and so that I have those, and then I only have one PS3 though. But I try to keep I try to get them all in launch, and then hold on to that one for whatever reason. I guess I wanted the day one 2013 controller, like.
Right.
Had to have it because it is what it is. But nah, man, it's being there and being part of that, and then seeing. I hate to categorize people, but modern day Zoomers misremember stuff because they decide to go do Google foo, and then all they do is read takes from people that want you to not have the "I was there" take. Because the way they want to remember it is the way they want to remember it. And all you have is those breadcrumbs to read from because they modify every wiki page over and over again until it looks the way they want it to.
Yep.
Every time you go there and read, you get all the bad shit. So
that's why I sent that video because we had already went over it. We went through the whole E3.
Yep.
And pretty much kind of how many times they said Nintendo next home console. I think we were at 7 or 11, something like that. And then Reggie gets on again to say it an additional time. And at the end of it all, it was still like I'm not sure. If it's a console, it's the add-on, and that's what the gaming, well, not the gaming press, but the news press in general, that's what they ran with. And it's like you can't some of this stuff you can't fake. Like you can hide it, you can tuck it under the rug, but you still see that lump.
Yeah.
You still see that lump in that rug.
Have you ever seen any of and this is kind of like a political take, but have you seen any of like the videos that show how all the local news stations are saying the exact same thing? Because they have from higher corporate said you will mention this today, even if it's something stupid like the one I saw today they were talking about was April 1st. It's April 1st already. Like it was like 70 something news networks, and they were all saying that. And it's like, why are they saying? And they're saying it in a very specific way. So I'm like, at some point, yeah, you got to say the thing because you're there,
right?
And it was obviously that for Wii U clearly, and not just. It was funny because you're talking about real time at E3, and I'm like, how do you come away saying you don't know if it was a new console, not one but 2 E3s in a row?
Right.
How do you do that?
Like, we're still just unsure if it's. I think it's an add-on, but Nintendo's being. This is what I don't like. Nintendo's being very vague about what they're coming out with. If it's
And I'm like,
or it's the add-on.
I'm like youtube.com/Nintendo. Then go to they still have a Wii U playlist. Just go look at it. And then see when they specifically say, hey, we're not sure if this is a console or an accessory. Hey guys, you should figure it out. Nah. How you will play next.
Mm-hmm.
And they show the console and they show the controller. And the Wii U does not look like a Wii. You can hold them side by side and look at them.
Right. At all. And because of that, that's why you got one of these.
Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly that.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Welcome to E3 Nintendo.
And it's wild too, as I was looking through these, that they weren't even playing around even when they were playing around. Like, they picked Robot Chicken out of all, you know what I'm saying? Popular. They did the whole Muppet thing during the other E3. Popular. You know what I mean? Like,
looks like I'm the new face of Nintendo. Hey, they promised me you wouldn't be here. Come on, Reggie, give us Mother 3. How about this instead? Hey, wait a minute. If Nintendo's heroes are backstage, who's watching the bad guys? Not my problem. It's me, Wario. I guess this is my problem. While I go Reggie on these fools, here's what's new.
You caught the thing with the 2 links, right?
yeah.
They promised me you wouldn't be here because they hated that reveal.
Them low key shots, man.
Yeah, it was all about Game Press. That was directly to their face.
That's so funny.
You talking about Chris Hardwick and Blair Herter? Yeah, they were both like, yeah, we weren't in on this because we weren't in the meeting where we were told to say it.
Right. And I feel bad. Who was it? Chris Hardwick? No, it was.
At the time, it was Blair Herter, but Chris Hardwick was one of their hosts too.
Yeah, he was all like confused, like, I'm actually really excited about that. And they're like, oh, we are excited, but we just aren't sure, like, what we should be excited for. Like, what?
Yeah, that's just. So it's just strange because. When have you ever seen that real time for any Sony or Microsoft product? When have you ever said, I don't know? Like, they didn't even act confused as far as Project Q.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, magically, you understand the use case for literally a Wii U thing, minus all the other benefits that come with Wii U.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to buy a extra $200 product, sign in with my PSN account, sign into my wireless account, sign into PlayStation Network, and then stream a game from my home console. I would love to do that. When everything was all in a box behind me, like in one box.
Right.
Only one account needed. So, and you didn't even have to sign into that account. You can play it offline. You never have to sign into a Wii. You could create a me and keep it moving.
Right. You was missing out on a lot, but
yeah. But you could, and you would never have to install a game. They run right off the disc.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So it's it's just strange to like all the confusion from what is effectively the last console as we know it, the last traditional home console as we know it, for gaming press to pretend to not know that it was a console. But going forward, we have consoles that are effectively more like PCs now. Even Switch, you have to install some games or download. You have to download a portion of it.
Yep.
So the last console that was more like a home console, that's the one we act like we didn't know what that was. We didn't know if it was an accessory or not. And I'm like, but you buy a disc for it, like, and it's a different kind of disc, and it won't go in a Wii. So how do you think you play it?
And they'll list they'll list the PS3 as the last or the most powerful traditional home console as we know it, and then move Wii U and as the weakest of the newer style home consoles. And then they'll move the Switch into, oh, well, this was just another version of the Wii U. They run entirely different.
I'm like, what if I told you the Xbox One came with an additional controller, right? Oh, it's the Xbox Series H. Yeah, it's the Xbox Series H, right? So check this out. You buy this tablet, right? And then you sign in, and then you could stream everything from your Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X, right? In addition to that, stuff you do on this screen, you could fling to the TV. Like you could switch in between the Series H and the Series X. Like you can go back and forth between them. Matter of fact, you don't even need the TV. You can turn the TV off and you can see everything right here, right?
That'll be innovative.
How much you want to pay for that? Oh, I paid $200 for it. What if I told you it was $0? Oh, for real? Yeah. Matter of fact, it came in a box with the Series X. How about that? Great, right? All right, cool. All right, now check this out. Now, for us to do this, right, you know we have to cut some costs, right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the Series X kind of like we're gonna dial it down to a Series S. So we'll only put this in a box with a Series S, right? Okay. All right. Now what else are we gonna do? Okay. So instead of limited to 1480p, we're gonna limit it to 1080p, and it'll be like some games will be 720p or whatever. But you know you could play on your separate screen or whatever. That's cool, right? Cool. Yeah. We'll do that. I want to play those Xbox games like that. Yeah, to play all those games. It's cool. It's fine. And you know what? We're gonna reduce the price, right? So, because we know you ain't want to pay $500 for that, right? So now your Series S, you know, you play your Series S now for $300, right? So what if I told you just get a bonus controller with your Series S? So you just throw that in the box. Yeah. That's what we're doing. All right, cool. All right. Then you just give them a Wii U.
All right.
Just give them a Wii U.
Well, wait, if you give them the Wii U, you make sure it's the black one and that you stamp the sticker on it that says Xbox One over the Wii U.
Yeah. And they'll play it. They'll play it not knowing that. Hey, you can also hook a GameCube controller up to it. Oh, you can also hook a Wii remote up to it. Oh, you can play all the old Wii games on it. They'll do that without knowing that. So you add in addition to everything else that was there. And now all of a sudden that's a problem. And that's not, this system is trash. And I'm like, no other first party produces the type of content that Nintendo does. I don't care who you are. If you list every single Nintendo first party game and every single Sony first party game, we ain't gonna get into Microsoft at this point. Every single Sony first party game, it's a wash. Well, not even a wash. Like it's a landslide. Like you can't even. The majority of the bulk of Sony's great part of first party is between PS2 and PS3.
Right.
And the great first party games they had, they killed with PS1, which is bewildering to me because they had some great partnerships with some publishers, and they could have acquired them as first party studios and they didn't. Like, They could have just bought the developers of Bushido Blade from Square.
Right. I love Blade.
Just things like that. Like
I love Bushido Blade.
I love Toshinden as well. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't even. I'm like, they did 2. Probably I don't know if it's 2 or 3 of those, but they did 2 at least. And I'm like, why didn't y'all just get this studio? Y'all could have did that. But it's obviously Nintendo's the OG, so they have the advantage there. But they've been here forever, and they're not going anywhere. Right. So you already know by default when you buy a Nintendo home console, regardless of what the press is telling you, you're going to get these franchises. They're coming sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's at the tail end, like Breath of the Wild, it's still coming. Even if it's at the tail end, like Mario Maker, it's still coming. Mm-hmm. So, and you get new stuff like Splatoon. I'll play my last couple of matches this weekend in Splatoon 1. Because I don't know if we talked about it. I don't know if you talked about that or not, but I'm closing down. But that'll be.
Oh, they closing it down, huh?
Yeah, Monday's the last day.
Oh wow.
So Monday will be the last. So you probably see a lot of live streams of final Splatoon or final whatever, final COD, because Call of Duty lobbies are still open too.
Right.
So Black Ops 2, which is the best version of Black Ops 2.
Right. On the Wii U.
Hands down the best version of that game. That'll probably be the last couple of
matches. That he's cranking it up too.
Yeah, gotta crank it up. But yeah, that system, man, that it was severely underrated for what it could do, and we never saw the potential of it.
It'll never get recognized.
No,
unless somebody like they did with the Super Nintendo, years and years and years later, finally make a game for it, but have plenty of time to really utilize and understand what that. But I feel like it's different for the Wii U now, right? Because that has to deal with some of the online stuff, right?
Yeah, for as far as like going back and trying to add as like a virtual console or something. Yeah, that would be way different. And be perfectly truthful with you, the same would be the case of like DSi games and 3DS as well. Like DS was more. You could emulate Nintendo Network within the game. Like there was not a lot that was going on outside of the console with that couldn't be done in a wrapper in a game today. Like all the things that you would need to process stuff, as far as like leaderboards and all that other kind of stuff for an online DS game, you could put that in the entire container with the ROM and run that. And then just have games talk to each other over peer-to-peer to update those stats locally on your game instead of on a server somewhere. Or you could build the server if you wanted to, which wouldn't be that big of a hit. Like you could probably spin that up in a container somewhere, and I could probably run all of Nintendo Wi-Fi connection probably from here, and be honest with you, because I have that kind of infrastructure. But if they decided to, they could. It's just the question of should they and what kind of benefit, because at the end of the day they got to make money off of it.
That's the biggest thing, is what kind of benefit would they get out of it?
Yeah, they're still a corporation. Don't get it twisted. Like, I like Nintendo, I like Xbox, I like PlayStation, right? But the motherfuckers don't like me. They want my money,
right?
So people gotta respect that too, and I think that's the other thing. As much as people want to call me a Nintendo shield, they don't pay me, and I'm not going to receive a dime from them, and I don't ever expect to. But I also know they want to get a dime from me,
right?
So, but I'm not going to give them money unless I know what I'm getting in return. So, and if it's going to be a great game, I'm there. If it's going to be a great system to play great games, I'm there. If it's, hey, we bought a whole bunch of first-party studios and we don't know we're going to get a game, now I'm questionable. But I am loyal almost to a fault, because I bought all the Microsoft consoles strictly because they have Rare as a developer.
Like, which means Killer Instinct, is
yeah, Killer Instinct. I'm going to get Halo at some point, Gears at some point. I'm there. So they got me. So I don't know how long I can continue doing that, especially when Microsoft started talking about it's going to be a login window at some point.
Right.
So I don't know how long I can continue to do that, but it is. I just want everybody else to be of that mindset too. They all about your bread. Nintendo the same way too. And especially when Nintendo sees other people doing it and they're like, well, yeah, we could do this too. Which is that's why I hate so much when people co-sign for a lot of this bullshit and they talk about how it's Nintendo needs to get with the times. Are you sure you want them to get with this? Because they're like making you pay for parts of the game all over again. You sure you want Nintendo to do this to you?
Nintendo does it, they're gonna charge you full, not blink.
So,
and get their money.
And that's a funny expectation too, because with Nintendo you expect a complete game, but for other publishers, not so much. Yeah, I'll wait a week for GTA to come out with an online version. I'll wait, but you paid $80. Why are you waiting?
Well, there's still the single player that I'm gonna play. So,
oh, you gonna play that single player? Oh, okay, sure. That's not what I see streamed every day, but okay. That's that. That's the odd thing to me is that there's that change in standards there because of, and I get it. Granted, it's from the expectations, right? Because that's where they come from, and they weren't serially online like Microsoft was from day one. Well, not day one, but day one plus 12 months.
Right.
Xbox Live didn't really show up until 2002, but they were serially on live since 2002, at least anyway. But you expect Nintendo to give you a complete experience in the box for every single game that you buy without no updates, no nothing. That's what you expect. And I guess that's a bit of a problem. Because I know for a fact I got several more gigs to add to this game. As soon as I put this in here, this is still sealed, but as soon as I put it in here, I know I got a lot more to add to this versus a Wii U disc that I could just play. So I guess that's the difference, and they'll complain now that this isn't even Nintendo, but it's Nintendo's fault that you got to download extra. That's so strange to me.
That's why Nintendo messed up, because that game can't run on the Switch.
Yeah.
Properly.
Yeah.
Day one. Along with Batman and what was the other WB game?
That's a WB problem.
Yeah, that's a WB problem. Yeah, it was Batman Arkham Knight is what they were complaining about.
And Harry Potter. Yeah,
Harry Potter. And I'm like, oh, well, this game looks horrible. And I'm like, so if you're saying it looks horrible, right? Okay. That means it looks horrible. And it's also the best looking game on Switch because it's quote unquote crippling the Switch to its knees, right? But there's better looking games in that same genre on that platform. So the conclusion that you're drawing, can we just step back a bit and think about that? So you look at a fighting game and you're like, oh, this fighting game look how crap it looks. And I'm like, but there are other fighting games that look way better.
Way better. Smash.
On the same system. So user error? I don't know. Like you tell me what you think the difference is. And honestly, obviously there's design choice, there's other things going on, and there's hey, we got crunch, we got all these other issues. There's a litany of other variables. But the one thing that doesn't change is the specs on that system. Everybody knew that before they started the project. All that other stuff is what's a variable. But you want to blame the one thing that's fixed? How does that logic work? Because in the scientific method, you test all your variables. You don't test the control.
Right.
You use the control to benchmark against your variables to figure out which variable is making the change. So which one of the variables is making the change? That's kind of where I'm at. And I'm like, you're going to tell me that there isn't some 3D action game with specs worse than Switch that looks better? You gonna tell me there isn't a 360 game out there that looks better than what I'm currently seeing on some of these ports for Switch? And that being the case, how do you square that? How do you then continue to blame it on the hardware? That's where I'm at right there. Because the average conversation is pause, it's the hardware. Is it though? Is it though? Like when you say, okay, well, yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 isn't 4K on Switch. Cool. It probably can't be.
Mm-hmm.
Probably can't be. That's fine, well and good. But when you tell me it can't be 540p on Switch, now we got a conversation.
Right.
Because what you're telling me now is that it can't run on a resolution that the 360 was using for its quote unquote demanding games in 2005. And at that point, we got to talk. And then I need you to give me a lot of details. And if you can't, then
null and void.
Yeah.
Null and void.
Yeah. At some point, it starts to sound kind of foolish now because you're like, oh, it's a PS2 looking game. Like, you don't remember what PS2 games used to look like, bro.
Mm-mm.
You don't remember. You playing too many emulators. You need to look at it. You need to load up a PS2 game and look at that piece with your S video cable on your CRT TV. Look at that square box
on the T-Rex, baby.
Yeah, and the fan's still blowing loud on that PS2 because ain't nobody clean that piece.
Right.
Thermal paste ain't never been changed on that thing. You turn on. I mean, just keeping it a buck, right? Because the conversations that we have online are not they don't cross with reality a lot of the times, and that's it's just, sometimes you gotta say pause because like somebody like, oh well, you know what, man, I can't believe this game over here, blah blah blah, and it's like on PS3 it was great. Why are we having all these problems in Skyrim on Switch, blah blah blah? I'm like, have you played Skyrim on PS3? And right. The PS3 still be whoa, and have you played Skyrim up here? Unfortunately, I own that nightmare, and patches are not that game. That game is severely broken on PS3.
Yeah,
it is severely broken. So, like, whatever complaints you got on, you ain't got to look that far to see how bad it could really be.
Yeah,
or I don't know. Just look at what PC gamers are dealing with the same specs of Switch. They dealing with all kind of nightmares. And I want to tell people a lot. The average PC gamer is dealing with laptop specs. A laptop is the most popular computer in the United States. The average gamer is using an integrated GPU. So all things being said,
yeah, that stuff that sits right embedded with the.
Yep.
Yeah.
So don't let these people with YouTube channels and $13,000 in their pocket let you think that every PC gamer is out there like that. They're not.
Right.
They're not. They're in their mom's basement trying to figure out how they're gonna get this GPU off StockX for the low. Just being real, that's exactly what's happening there, and or they wait a couple of years until the GPU is cheaper or whatever. Like that top of the line GPU that you got right now, they waiting for a good 3 years to see if they can get it for $200, and then pretend online and go online and pretend they had it the entire time. This is I had this day one. You sure? Let me see some timestamps of some of the games you've been playing. Oh, well, I log off my Steam, man. Don't check my Steam. He's like, man, look like here you just played this game like a year ago.
What happened?
You talking about you had been playing this? That GPU came out in 2017, bro, and it looked like you just played this yesterday. So I don't know what you're talking about. They out there. They out there. So, like we're considered enthusiasts, right? So I got a test bench right here. I got another box that I haven't built yet behind me. I got one upstairs with a couple of new setups or whatever, but the average person doesn't have that kind of income or time to do something like that. The average person that has the income, they don't have the time to build it. So they go to CyberPower PC or wherever to build have a computer sent to them already built. They don't know how it works. They run into issues or whatever. They call tech support. So that's the average life of a quote unquote gamer like that. Just keeping it a book.
Yep.
So I'll get off my soul.
No, it was great. It was great.
Just...
what up, Nightwolf? Appreciate you coming through. I was actually gonna wrap us up because we're at 2 hours, man. And we didn't even, and we got to that piece, but we didn't really even get into the nitty gritty of how the media moved really towards the end of that whole piece. Even kind of just in a reminiscing, sense of it, how they moved into 2012 and 2013. By 2014, it was a wrap.
Yep.
Yeah. And so 2014, 2015, 2016, like that was Nintendo's time to really develop the directs to what we got now.
Yeah. And and once they partnered with DNA, it was a wrap because they just said, hey, we can no longer trust the press to spread our message. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to make our own live streams. We're going to have our own YouTube channel blowing up. We're going to do weekly updates for all games that are coming out. At the time, they had Weekend Review, ended up being something else, Nintendo Minute or whatever. They had that going on. And you could watch videos live on the Wii U as well. And then they went to the point where they just said, you know what? We're going to start targeting mobile because everybody has an iPhone or an Android. Like very few people had. I mean, I like the Windows Phone, but very few people had those in Blackberries, and they were starting to go away. So they're like, hey, 100% of America either has an iPhone or they have an Android phone.
Right.
We give them a free game and tell them, hey, you can update it, and guess what? It's starring Mario. Go ahead. Yeah. They're in there, and now they joined the Nintendo ecosystem. Guess what? You just created a Nintendo account.
Right. You are right in there.
Yep. And so you can log into a Wii U, you can log into a 3DS, and our new system that we're working on. That created the entire, and now and I don't think press saw that coming, because they still tried to kill Switch, and it didn't. Yeah, pun not intended. They tried to kill Switch, and it didn't work. And they were smart about it though, because they didn't. There was no IGN, let's do a video and bash the Switch. They had YouTubers doing it. Individual YouTubers just magically use the same talking points they use for Wii U. Paltry storage, the specs aren't there. How are they going to run said engine? And Nintendo's like, you don't know how we're going to do it? Watch.
Right.
Here's Doom. Here's Skyrim from a developer that hasn't developed for any of our platforms since Where's Waldo on the NES. Everybody's coming back now. Except for Call of Duty for some reason. And except for GTA for some reason. Y'all should probably talk to them because everybody else is here.
Facts.
You can play NBA 2K on an actual basketball court. Like, that's all they needed to say right there. And I was just like, wow.
With your homeboys.
With your homeboy. I did the Van Exel on you. No, you didn't. Hold up. Let me pull it up. I just did it to you. I just did it to you. Yeah, I said The Witcher 3 couldn't run. Doom Eternal couldn't run. What wild games they said couldn't run? They said, what was the other one? The Wolfenstein. They said the Wolfenstein couldn't run.
Wolfenstein couldn't run.
Ori couldn't run. The first one and the second one couldn't run.
Yep.
I got the collection right here.
Arkham Knight couldn't run.
Yeah. They're talking about It Takes Two. Like all kind of games they were trying to come up with to say they couldn't run. What's the other game they said? The game for Series X that I just got to playing.
Sunset Overdrive?
No, the Shinji Mikami game. What's the name of the game? I can't think. I just got to play it. I can't remember the name of it. With the guitar and I can't think of the name of that right
now. Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that game can't run. Oh, but we got a version of it. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to take that back now.
Right. My bad. Forget it. Forget it. I said anything.
Yeah, Metro. All these games can't run.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Look at the long list of games people say couldn't run. Dragon Ball Fight. Yeah.
And Capcom is about to drop Ace Combat 6.
And this is just base Switch here. This is 2017 OG Switch.
Yeah.
There's no update. I mean, the updates are only to battery life more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So the OG Switch runs all these games from 2017.
That's wild.
SoC designed in 2016.
That's wild.
It's wild, but it's kind of not, because at the time, it was the most powerful mobile SoC on the planet. It took Apple to defeat it. Like, you got dethroned by the iPhone 8. That's what SoC was more powerful than your handheld console, the iPhone 8. So, it's kind of, when you think about it in retrospect that way, I really, really have a hard time with individuals that come up with the talking point to say Nintendo isn't with the times. Well, they could have added more teraflops to it. How? Like, how? Mm-hmm. Do you want to play for 15 minutes or in 2017? Did you want to play for 15 minutes or 2 hours? What'd you want to do? Because the battery on can be so big, so
right.
And the console can only be so warm.
Right.
But yeah, I got the. I jumped on soapbox again by accident.
That's gonna do it for it. Nah, you good. That's why it's a Stormcast / Shadowcast.
Unofficial revitalization of the channel. Yeah.
So that's it gonna be for this podcast, guys. Real quickly here, thank you to all who showed up. Appreciate you guys. Retro says games haven't advanced the past 10 years as much as people want to pretend. Super facts. Thank you, Retro. Thank you, Jay Biggs, Triple M, Brand Smith, Chanel, our moderators, Geronimo, Nightwolf, Blandrew coming through, man. Triple M, you ain't see my boy Ninja Cisco showed up, man. That's crazy. I wasn't even in the greatest mood. Then he showed up. I was like, yo, I'm cool now. I'm cool. The Dark Voice showed up. Appreciate you coming through, Gwen. Appreciate you coming up. And I think that is a guy, Shadow Fox.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah,
I just know Levon came through because he was holding up the whole crumb side.
Shout out to Levon Kaysen, man, and Andre, who I'm pretty sure probably had to do daddy woes at the time. So, and Joe Bo, appreciate you coming through as well. Before we get up out of here, yes, Trinell, thank you for saying something. Road to 500. We are at. Can you quote me, Vito? How many are we at?
Hold on. Peter slow. We're at 475.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Trinell. 475, man. We are right there. We are right there. Getting to the road to 500. And when we get to 500, that $50 gift card is there for somebody for just being a subscriber, man. We really appreciate y'all coming through. Next week, once again, we're continuing our best of the generation game. So make sure you come through because there's also a prize for that that somebody is going to win by the end of that. So make sure you come in next week before we get out of here as well. Shadow, what you got?
Man, I'm feeling kind of suspect right now because all the videos are backlogged on my playlist. I gotta scroll through them all so I can watch them all. But I gotta catch up. So, but no, I am trying to get my way through them all. Same with Andre. Oh Jesus, Andre's videos.
Andre's got.
He got so many to come through, but they're so good. I have to like get through them all, and I'm just like, somebody's going to eventually pay him because he says stuff and then it just happens, and I'm like, I don't know how else to explain that, but yeah, like y'all sell to all these guys, man. They doing a good job out here. I know I'm like hella flaky because I got a lot of stuff going on right now, but I'll bring the channel back. But y'all sub to these guys right now. Everybody in Winging It, make sure y'all go ahead and sub to them, sub to Jay, sub to Vicky, and yeah, y'all watch their live streams too because they be putting up live streams and stuff. I try to come through when I can support. Make sure y'all do too, and then we'll go from there because everybody can't be like have an entire studio to start podcasts from. So support the people that make the U and YouTube.
Right. All right, appreciate it. All right, Vito, what you got?
Yeah. So, just like Geronimo said, check out that last video. I reacted to that diss track from J. Cole, so that's the latest in the Vitoverse music. So we're pushing the Vitoverse music kind of heavy now. Mm-hmm. Still doing our Vitoverse, just our regular stuff, but we're trying to get into the music stuff and just expand our reach and what our content is covering over at the Vitoverse. So definitely stay tuned for some more of this saga because I'm actually I'm dubbing this whole situation with J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake. I'm dubbing it World War II of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? We had World War One, that ended tragic. We ain't finna go into all that, but this is World War II, and it looks like it's promising. Hopefully, we don't come to blows of seriousness of somebody getting killed or anything and nothing like that.
We don't need that.
Right.
Can't have that. You know what I'm saying? So, warning to Drake: stop shooting Travis Scott's face on stage at your concert because that was weird. So, other than that, man, just every Thursday. Well, this Thursday wasn't. Look, I had a behind the scenes. I knew J. Cole was coming out with this album. I just didn't know he was dropping it that late. So that's why my Vito variants was not on Thursday. So, yeah, everything got screwed up because of J. Cole. So blame J. Cole on what
like
happened.
RDC World.
Yeah.
I knew something was gonna happen today. Why are you still dressed?
But yeah, every Thursday Vito variants, every Friday Vitoverse, every other Friday is the Vitoverse Live. Next Friday is going to be our Vitoverse Live, so stay tuned for that. And that's it.
Okay. Well, you can catch us every Saturday at 9:00 usually, except for this one was at 9:30, but I already explained why it was at 9:30. The Stormcast, Winging It Podcast, 7:00 every Sunday, unless it's a holiday, then we ain't doing it that Sunday. Where you can catch Shadow, me, Jack, Andre, Jay, sometimes Vicky, and whoever special guest if we decide to have one of those on there. And yeah, 7:00. So go ahead and show up for that tomorrow because we got a really great show coming for tomorrow. And then Monday is the Jill podcast. We all kind of like moving tiles on when we want to show up for that, but make sure you guys come through on that as well. Yeah, it's like weird. Like I won't be here. I won't be there for like one of them. And that just so happens to be the one where Clocked It shows up. And like Clocked It don't show up and then Retro's there. And Tranell, and that, like we all kind of just like slide in and everything. Yeah.
Look. Yeah. I get this show. You get the next one.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised it's still been going all this time because between Retro and Clocked It, like that time difference is insane. So I don't even know how they even manage to make it a lot of the time.
It is. Like, we've had we haven't had retro on yet. That's still coming, still pending. But even haven't clocked it on, like we had to move, I think, forward even like 3 hours just to make sure that was set up right. And the Jill podcast goes on at 7, so that's got to at least be 10 or 11 their time, and it's just and on a weekday on top of that. So so that changes the whole dynamic. But yeah, I appreciate my Jill brothers either way, man. They are great to talk to, and they are amazing streamers as well. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming through, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Absolutely, on the Wing in the podcast. Better be there. Almost 40 of y'all who showed up live. All right, we'll see you guys later. Peace.